Are you ready to plug into the future of digital infrastructure? Well, you've come to the right place. Because on Data Center Uncut, we're exploring a world where connectivity is faster, storage is smarter, and the digital landscape is constantly evolving. Every week, we bring you straight to the source, interviewing the innovators, the engineers, and the brilliant minds building and operating the facilities that power the modern world. If you're curious about how the physical backbone of the internet is actually changing lives, then stick with us for the next 30 minutes. This is Data Center Uncut, a BizClick production. Our guest today brings a rare combination of technical expertise and commercial leadership to one of the most exciting intersections in energy and technology. She is the Business Development Director for Middle East, Turkey, and Africa at Castrol, where she leads the company's data center and thermal management business across the region. It's a role that sits right at the heart of one of the most pressing infrastructure challenges of our time, keeping AI and data centers cool. Her path here is anything but conventional. She holds a master's degree in IT engineering and an MBA, a combination that has clearly shaped the way she thinks about both technology and the business behind it. After nearly a decade at Castrol, she has moved through roles spanning key account management, regional sales, B2B strategy, and global offer development, shaping a deep understanding of every single part of the business. So please welcome to the show, Aida Elbouanani. Hello, Aida.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have given you a very quick introduction there, but the best person to introduce you is often yourself. So, can you tell me a little bit more about your background and why you're joining us today?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. I've been working with Castrol for the past 9 years, starting roles in sales in the automotive space, and then in CVO, and most recently joined in the data center business. During my experience in Castrol and prior to that in the CPG space, I had the opportunity to work with different customers and develop skills related to solving customers' problem. And today I have the opportunity with Castrol to bring my IT background and do the same thing, where it is understanding the customer challenges, building partnerships, scaling solutions, but in the data center space. This is something that is important for Castrol. It's a new area of work for us, and I am really hoping that my background, including the IT and commercial side of it, can help to make Castrol a leader in this space.
Well, this is the thing. You have such an interesting background and have touched on almost every single aspect of business. So, talk to me about the journey into the data center space. How did you end up in data centers?
Well, the digital infrastructure is really at the intersection of energy as well as technology, where my interests in, and then economic growth driven by the countries where we live. Data centers have become very critical to infrastructure, and now with AI, it's accelerating the importance of data centers even further, enabling the next generation of computing. For that, thermal management is a critical part of that, and that's what we do in Castrol. So my background is bringing all these different solutions to life, understanding the customer challenges, and then building partnership to scaling solutions together.
So, does it almost feel like you're, at the forefront of something incredible, something amazing here, something that's going to change the world?
Oh, definitely. I think that's, you can see the news. Everyone is talking about data centers now. They're becoming very, very important. And with AI coming, it's just a boom. And I'm really, really lucky to be part of this acceleration.
So let's talk about your role now then. You have a pretty fascinating role as, business development director across, the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. So that's a massive scope of work. That's a massive region. How does it feel to have that sort of authority over so many places?
It is a very large region, but for us, it's very important to have that large coverage because first of all, a lot of the players are also present in multiple countries, so we are able to build on the existing relationships that we have, and also build new relationships in the new countries where we are not present. And the second thing is the learnings. Because the region is at different stages, we can learn from projects that are currently being executed and bring these learnings to the new areas where we are starting to see projects come into life.
And how would you say that your past experience has shaped your approach to the meta region?
I think the META region is a fascinating region. It's really a lot of countries at very different stages. And having that understanding that every country is at its own stage and every country needs a different level of support is something that really enables us to be a winner in the region. And the other thing is it's so important to understand who is influencing what in every country. And that's something I was able to develop through my different roles in the past.
And that's a lot of business, really understanding who the key players are in the key places.
Yeah, indeed. I can tell you some days it can be quite a challenge.
So obviously the Castrol brand is recognized globally for its leading automotive, industrial and marine lubricants. What is it like to internally champion this pivot from, industrial fluids to actually cutting edge data center cooling?
Oh, I think it's really a natural evolution for us. Castrol, although it's famous for the automotive business mostly, it does have a heritage and a background in solving complex thermal issues, fluid engineering challenges in demanding environments. So while the applications might maybe changing, the underlying expertise remain the same, and that's what our customers are also seeing. That we are using the same expertise from the traditional businesses and bringing that to data centers in order to develop the next generation of products for data centers.
So you said it's a natural progression. So where did that inspiration come from? Data center cooling has, become at the forefront of everything we do. So what was that moment of inspiration where we said, actually, this is a natural progression?
Oh, I think if you look at data centers today, you can see that computing performance is increasing, and that increase obviously comes with constraints. The main constraint of that is the thermal limitation.
Mm.
And that's where we come in. That's where our expertise come in. We are able to bring differentiated offers because of due to our deep engineering expertise, as well as our ecosystem approach. We always worked starting from automotive to marine to industrial with the entire ecosystem. We have a really strong skills at building that partnerships, and today we are doing the same. So we work across the entire thermal system to help customers deploy the solutions with confidence, and that's where we are able to bring that added value to the customers.
You're absolutely right as well. If, the data center isn't cooled properly, it is a massive performance bottleneck. So
Yeah.
behind launching Castrol On, how does the fluid engineering heritage actually differentiate you from your competitors?
We do have a deep heritage in bringing different fluids for different applications. And I think that's where we bring that engineering today and that expertise today. We started with cooling in the cars. It's not so different, right, of cooling in the data centers. It's really about understanding what the system needs, understanding what's the right product for the system, and understanding how we can help the customers with the product, but also the services around it in order to improve the performance, the cooling performance of the data center.
You know Castrol for maximizing performance on the road. Now we're doing the same for the world's most powerful data centers. As AI and cloud computing drive rack densities to the limit, traditional air cooling just can't keep up. Introducing Castrol On. With over a century of fluid expertise in PV thermal engineering, our advanced direct tip and emerging cooling fluids maximize uptime, reduce water use, and flatten the switch on. Visit castrol.com. So let's look at your recent developments. So in May 2026, Castrol On's PG25 direct liquid cooling fluid achieved the OCP inspired recognition with immersion fluids like DC-15 and DC-20 following suit. Why is open ecosystem validation so critical for operators who are evaluating the risks of, those thermal technologies?
This is obviously an honor for us to achieve these recognitions. So we were recognized by OCP as OCP Inspired. We also recently achieved the Nvidia approval for Castrol on PG25. And validation is very important for customers because this is how they understand that our product is reliable. Our customers today are making long-term infrastructure investments. They need product that will be good for them over a very long period of time. And these programs like OCP or Nvidia are able to give them the confidence that they need to understand that these technologies have been evaluated against industry recognized standards, practices. And this is a risk reduction for the customers. It really shows them that we are able to support them. It's reducing the risk. And as the industry evolves, these collaborations are becoming even more important for us.
So let's talk then about, that consultation process. So when you are consulting with data center operators, how do you guide them through the decision matrix of either using direct chip cooling versus, single phase immersion cooling? And where is each approach fitting in a modern data center?
This is a very hot topic, to be honest. It is not about one technology winning over the other. For us, it's really about understanding what is the deployment, what are the requirements from the customers, and recommending what is the best solution for these specific requirements. Direct-to-chip cooling, which is the most used option today, is very often attractive for organizations that are looking to support higher density workloads, but at the same time leveraging the existing facility designs. So it looks more like a traditional data center, and a lot of customers are more comfortable with that. Immersion cooling, on the other hand, offers a more compelling advantages for some specific scenarios, which are the very high density environments. So it can truly unlock new possibilities when it comes to infrastructure designs and new applications completely. Our role in this is to help the customer evaluate their objectives, their operational requirements, their growth plans, and based on that, help them determine which approach is best suited for their specific circumstances.
So another thing you recently noted is that the Gulf market for data centers cooling excites you because it combines capital clarity and execution speed. With like multi-gigawatt expansion announcements from players in the UAE, is the region officially transitioning from connectivity transit zone to global AI infrastructure hub?
I think it's an absolutely great time to be in the Gulf right now because it is transitioning into becoming a major AI infrastructure hub. There are combination of factors to that. I think the most important one is there is an ambitious national digital strategy. There are significant investments that are being brought to the region, and there is also a willingness to move quickly from the vision to the execution. We are already seeing the first projects almost being completed with AI loads, and the governments, the operators, the technology providers also, they're all aligned around that common goal. And that common goal is to build a world-class digital infrastructure in the region, which is creating a very exciting environment for innovation from a supplier perspective and for being truly that center of the AI infrastructure for the rest of the operators and the governments involved.
Absolutely. It seems like a very exciting time to be in the Gulf.
It is indeed. And I'm very glad to be here right now.
So the Middle East presents obvious environmental challenges for, traditional air cooling. Do you find that the region's harsh climate is actually accelerating the adoption curve for liquid cooling compared to, the cooler markets that we have in Northern Europe?
I think naturally, when we're in regions where managing heat is already a critical consideration, there is a greater willingness to evaluate the new alternative approaches. And if these approaches are able to improve the thermal efficiency and also supports the higher density computing, it is becoming as a natural solution to all the challenges of the region. So rather than seeing climate as a barrier, many organizations in the region are viewing this as a driver for innovation. And that's why you'll see, alongside all the factors that I spoke about earlier, this is all driving innovation and driving that move to becoming an AI infrastructure hub and the adoption of these new technologies like direct-to-chip cooling.
And as you said, where there are, obvious challenges, natural challenges, there are opportunities for innovation.
Yes, always.
So we hear the term, obviously, high density AI factories frequently. We've probably said it a few times in this conversation. What are the biggest hurdles operators in the Meta region are currently facing when they're trying to move these extreme density setups from isolated pilot phases to fully scaled, reliable deployments?
I think the first one I would like to cite is moving beyond the pilots. As you shared, I think so far there are a lot of isolated pilot phases, but moving to that repeatable, scalable deployment model is something that is very, very complex. And in order to do that, you need first confidence in the technology, but you also need confidence in the different operations that come after the deployment. So you're talking about the operations part, you're talking about the maintenance of these data centers, you're talking about the skills that are required in order to deliver these new deployments, a strong supply chain, especially if it's disturbed by the current events in the region. And finally, that ecosystem support and the collaboration between the different elements of the ecosystem. So the industry can only scale faster when we see all these elements coming together. So when the infrastructure providers, the technology vendors, and the cooling specialists are able to work together in order to validate solutions and in order to share the best practices.
Obviously, you mentioned collaboration there. We love collaboration here at Data Center Magazine. So, how is Castrol actively collaborating with OEMs and engineering firms to ensure that liquid cooling is treated as, an integrated system rather than just an isolated product?
This is a really good question and one that I'm hearing a lot about from the customers themselves. I think everyone realizes today that thermal management cannot be viewed in isolation. It can only progress and move if it's part of a bigger system. So what we do at Castrol is we make sure to work with the different elements of that ecosystem. Take the OEMs, for example. We collaborate a lot with all the OEMs involved in liquid cooling from a research and development perspective and innovation perspective, but also on compatibility testing, ensuring that our product is validated by most of them. We also work very closely with everyone involved in the data centers, from ourselves, the fluid supplier and hardware supplier, to the cooling infrastructure, and also the people providing the operational parts. It can only work if we work together as one system. And the reason for that is customer wants predictable performance. They want something that is reliable, that is scalable. And in order to achieve that, you need a system level approach. And that collaboration is the only way to achieve that.
Agreed. Collaboration is 100% key to everything we do in our lives, I think. So if we now have a look ahead, so let's look ahead to 2026 and, beyond. We are in 2026. What is the one conversation you want the digital infrastructure ecosystem to be having about thermal management that they are currently not?
I think we still have a long way to go on the collaboration part. Good progress so far, but there is more that can be done. And working together is the only way to continue innovation and bringing solutions to customers. I also think that there is a lot to be learned between different deployments in different countries. If you look at the Meta region, for example, it is still a developing region. We are seeing the first project being executed with liquid cooling in the UAE, and then very soon the first project in Saudi Arabia. Ensuring that we have exchange of information and exchange of best practices between the different regions and different continents is the way we can move faster as a region that has that ambition to become the AI infrastructure hub. It's trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to do things from scratch is not going to help us. And that's where we can bring value, because we have global teams, we have our teams everywhere involved in projects in different regions. And we are able through that to learn and bring these learnings to the new regions like meta countries, where we are still seeing the first projects come into life.
So tell me something that has helped you professionally thrive to be the best version of yourself.
I think I can cite 2 points here. The first one is that combination of technical and management background. So as I shared at the beginning, my background is IT engineer. However, I've done a lot of roles in business development, and I also completed my MBA. So having that dual skills level is something that really helped me in a lot of ways. And the other thing is, I believe, the ability to pivot very, very quickly and move across industries. I started my career in CPG. I then moved to Castrol, where I worked on automotive business, and then I worked on commercial vehicle business, and now on data centers. So while these are completely different industries, there are a lot of best practice that can be brought across industries. And bringing that fresh set of eye to a new industry is always a good way to just build myself in a way that is a little bit different versus other people who've been in the same industry, looking at the things in one way for the past 10, 15 years. Yeah.
So, all right, what would you say is your proudest achievement in the recent years for Castrol?
I think in the past year, I've been working on data centers in the Middle East. And when I joined in, very few people even knew that Castrol was actually active in the data center space. And I was able to change that in a very short time. I believe today brand awareness is very, very strong from all potential customers and partners. And that is really something I'm very proud of, because I am building the brand in a new industry in this very, very big region.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Aida. It's actually been a pleasure to have you with us on this episode of Data Center Uncut.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thanks for joining us as we analyze and unpack the complex world of digital infrastructure. Before you go, don't forget we want to hear from you. Got a tough question about power usage effectiveness? A tricky issue with cooling optimization? Or maybe you're an industry leader with an incredible data center innovation story to share and want to appear on the show. Send us your burning questions or your speaker pitch. You can easily drop us a line at datacenteruncut@bizclickmedia.com. Please remember to email from your business email address. All eligible emails will be entered into a draw to win 2 free tickets to Data Center Live, worth thousands. We'll be back next week to help you build bigger, run cooler, and maybe even achieve that zero carbon goal. Until then, keep those racks full and your bandwidth high. See you next time.